Good evening, everyone. You're in the spotlight with Brian Gardner for this Tuesday, December the 11th, 2018. Good to have you all here for our first of two shows this week. We have a lot to do. We have winter meetings, which if you've been following my Twitter, you know I've been trying to keep you up to date on some things, anything that we hear or that's out there that we want to comment on. We've been trying to comment on. We have MLB Winter Meetings. We have NFL. Look back at last week and look ahead to this weekend. We have Oh, goodness. We have college basketball. We had a big upset tonight. We'll talk about that. We have WWE TLC preview for this Sunday. We have Raw. We have SmackDown. Lots of stuff to go over tonight. It's a big, big show. So let's get right on to it. As always, to start the show, let me remind you all of the ways which you can interact and contribute to our show, have your voice heard, by emailing us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding the show. And as always, you can find us on Facebook as well. Just search in Spotlight 411 on Facebook, and then make sure that you like our fan page so you can interact with us and keep up to date on everything related to the show and all that good stuff. All right. So like I said, a very big show tonight, lots to do. Mike will be joining us tonight, which is why I added the wrestling to tonight so he can be involved with that. That leaves us once again this Thursday with a rather short show, just like last Thursday was, which is fine. You know, we get everything into one show and then we have a shorter show. But Thursday is a big show, so you want to make sure that you tune in. Why? Well, because we are going to start the process for this year's Film Awards. We're doing it a little early this year, so we'll start that process. I'll give you all the information on the Film Awards and everything you need to know on Thursday's show. We'll also do our usual entertainment stuff, box office beat, TV highlights, if there are any, because that's been a set we've had a rough time with lately. TV highlights and any other entertainment news we have to discuss, we will. All that will be coming at you on Thursday's show. And then next week, I feel like I have to comment on next week because next week will be our last normal week of the new year. Obviously, Christmas is coming up, New Year's is coming up. So the final 2 weeks of the year, we will only be doing one show, and those shows will be on Thursday, okay, of those weeks. We'll talk more about that next week. But those shows will only be on Thursday, so make sure that you keep that in mind going forward. We'll get into dates and stuff later and how it's all going to work out and whatnot. But next week on Tuesday's show, we will have as of right now, this is the schedule. We might flip-flop it, and we might flip-flop it because I'm going to see when Mike's available to do the show. I'm assuming that Tuesday will be better for him than Thursday. But if he's available on Tuesday, what we'll do is we'll have our normal sports and wrestling show. We'll talk about the fallout from TLC, any other wrestling or WWE news we have to talk about, football, college basketball, anything else sports related we have to cover. But also, we will be doing what we've been telling you we're going to be doing for a while. It's our college basketball preview. Again, it won't be a long, big thing, but you know, it'll be a preview, just like we've done the last couple of years, where we just kind of do a segment. We kind of do an overview of the teams that we think are going to be in it, and big tournament players and Final Four predictions, all that kind of stuff. So we'll do that on Tuesday. Now, assuming we do all that on Tuesday, I also reserve the right to kind of say, you know what, we might not be able to fit all that in. So some stuff we might move to Thursday, make Thursday a combo show with sports and entertainment. But we'll see. Right now, that would be the plan. And Thursday, we do like we did in the last couple of weeks. We just do entertainment, box office, BT, highlights, all that stuff. So just be aware that that's the current thinking with the schedule for next week right now. That could always change when we get to the next week. I'll let you all know. I'll probably know more officially on Thursday. Or we might have to just play it by ear. And again, the last 2 weeks of the year, well, actually the last week of 2018, of course, the first week of 2019, we'll only be doing one show, and in both cases it'll be on Thursday. And then after that, we'll be back to a normal schedule for a few weeks. But we also will be going into a time when we're going to be starting to do move our stuff around and go into our new show type deal, new format type deal. So But all that will be coming into 2019. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's focus on the rest of 2018. All right. So that's kind of the lay of the land for the next few weeks. So that's want to get into that at the top of the show here. Again, we have a lot to do, so I don't want to waste time. I don't want to belabor the point. Mike will be joining us, but first we're going to do football. And he's probably not going to join us until after football, which is, his right. He's not a big football person, as you all know. So he'll join us once we get, probably through this. So, all right, so let's get started here. We'll start with the NFL, and then we'll work our way into a bunch of other things. So let's do that. Let's start with the NFL. And boy, you know what? I remember 4 weeks ago, I said that I thought this was going to be a very anticlimactic end to the NFL season and that there wasn't anything compelling going. Boy, have things changed. From the race for the AFC 6 seed to what's going on in the AFC North, North with the Pittsburgh, who has fallen completely apart, to the Rams losing on Monday Night Football, opening the door to the Saints potentially getting home field, which could mean the Super Bowl. To the Chiefs after losing Kareem Hunt. Now they don't look so huge. The Chargers look like the hottest team in football. And you're looking at the NFC, and things are just completely topsy turvy. The Giants are still alive. The Cowboys are starting to run away, but the Vikings have fallen completely off, which is what's keeping teams like the Giants alive. I mean, things have just gotten, and after this week, it's just like you're wondering where you're at. You got so much going on as opposed to 4 weeks ago when it seemed like, you thought the season was going to go according to plan. And we're not even touching what happened to New England on what was probably one of the more miraculous plays you will ever see. Miami winning that game on that hook and rattle touchdown, which was crazy. And look, as good of a play as that was, Bill Belichick has to take the blame for that play because he made a lot of bad mistakes from time of possession and managing the clock to the defense and having Gronkowski be the last line of defense. This is a terrible job by Bill. How many times have you said that? A terrible job by Bill Belichick in that game. And look, I've said it last week. I said New England has never had an easy time in Miami. Brady has never done very well in Miami. His record in Miami speaks for itself. So I said that was a game to keep an eye on, and lo and behold, it was. It's like their kryptonite. It's like, sometimes I always say, well, any major NFC South team that heads into Tampa Bay, they have a tendency to lose. The Saints bypassed that this week, but you've seen it before where a big team, that's not even just NFC South teams, but big teams go into Tampa Bay and they lose. Some places are just tough to play. Now, Miami is not very tough to play for a lot of teams, but for New England particularly, it seems to be. So it's a comparable case. And, you saw what happened. And that's huge because Pittsburgh had fallen off. And with everything the way it was going, it looked like New England was going to be that 2 seed. Now New England loses that game, and it sets them up. They're playing Pittsburgh. It's not a foregone conclusion here. New England could fall off, and now New England might end up playing the first weekend. Huge, because New England's not New England this year. They're just not. So that's huge for the rest of the AFC. Especially when you got the Chargers doing what they're doing for the first time, and since Philip Rivers is there, the Chargers look like a legitimate threat to potentially go to a Super Bowl. I'm ready to say that now. I told you that you have to. The Chargers look like a team that could potentially get to a Super Bowl. They really do. They need the matchup in their favor. It's not like some of these other teams, but they could. I don't know if I'd put them on that tier, but they're on that next level where you're like, hey, if a matchup goes in their favor, they can make it. And the Steelers, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happened to them. Ben Roethlisberger looks terrible, which we've been. I think I mentioned that last week. He has not looked great. The team. Look, Steelers have been radically inconsistent the last couple of years, but this is a different animal. They lost to the Raiders. And the Ravens right now, if the Ravens had won, let's think about it this way, okay? If the Ravens had that game, against the Chiefs. If the Ravens had won that game, okay, they would have been 8-5. The Steelers only had 7 wins. They would have been in front of the Steelers. So again, huge, huge. The Ravens are right there, and that's something you're going to want to watch going forward here. Is the race between the Ravens and the Steelers, because I'm telling you right now, the way the Steelers are playing, they have to play the Patriots this week, a Patriot team that just lost. Let's say they drop that game and the Ravens win. Everybody's looking at the Ravens for that 6th seed because the Chargers are so far gone. You don't have to worry about them. The Ravens, what happens if the Ravens take the North? The Ravens take the North. The Steelers are that 6th seed. They're barely hanging on. They got that one tie against the Browns. The Brown tie could end up keeping the Steelers out of the playoffs. Keep that in your back pocket. Could end up doing it. So that game might end up being. That's what I say. Every game counts. That game could be significant. We'll talk more about next week later. Right now, we want to focus on what happened this past week. And obviously, the Miami New England upset was huge. The Raider Steeler upset was huge. The Chiefs nearly losing to the Ravens would have been huge, but that was a huge game because it shows you how vulnerable the Chiefs are now. The Saints winning that game against Tampa Bay, huge, and especially in light of the fact that the Rams lose Sunday Night Football to the Bears, a Ram team that had been so good offensively, got shut down by the Bears, who look like a very viable threat right now especially with their defense. And the thing about the Bears, again, it's going to take a lot. I mean, the Rams, look, it's not going to happen. So I don't even want to bring it up. But if the Rams ever went through a losing streak here at the end of the year and the Bears somehow got home field, then that'd be dangerous. Home field, but like the 2 seed, that'd be very dangerous because they're tough to beat at home. But it was a very good performance by the Bears, and if they can pull that kind of defense, and they could do some things. They can make it far to maybe even the Super Bowl. I wouldn't put them on that level, but again, it's a matchup thing. If the Rams losing that game is huge because to coincide that with the Saints winning, the Saints are now the 1. Because of the tiebreaker, they beat the Rams. The Saints are now the 1. And then you have the battle at the bottom of the NFC. Cowboys, of course, beat the Eagles. Again, you could argue that the Cowboys got some help from the officials, but the Eagles lost that game because their secondary is banged up. Then nobody to stop Amari Cooper, and that was the game. So the Eagles, I said the loser of that game I thought wasn't going to be in play anymore. I don't think they're in play anymore. Cowboys are going to win the division. They're not going to blow this. The Cowboys are going to win the division. They're gone. And with the Eagles losing, it brings them back down to earth for a Giant team who took care of their business and destroyed this reeling Redskins team who, again, their focus is probably on Alex Smith and elsewhere. And we continue to wish Alex Smith all the best and hope he's going to be okay. Our thoughts and prayers are with him. And but the Redskins, just a mess right now. Mark Sanchez, now they're going to go to Josh Johnson at the quarterback position. Total mess. Giants dominated from the start. Saquon Barkley was amazing. And now the Giants have 5-8. Imagine if they had beaten the Eagles a couple weeks ago. Whoa. Imagine where they would have been. But the Giants are still alive. And why are the Giants still alive? Because the Eagles are struggling. And because the Vikings have fallen completely off after a loss to the Seattle Seahawks last night on Monday Night Football. Now the Seahawks have kind of moved into that spot that the Chargers are in the AFC, where they got all the momentum. They're that team that nobody's going to want to play as a wild card, and they're gone. They're going to the playoffs. They're gone. And so Seattle's going to make it in. The question is, what about the Vikings, who all of a sudden now can't do anything? They just look bad. When they get it right on defense, they get it wrong on offense. When they get it right on offense, they get it wrong on defense. And now they're sitting there at 6-1. And again, that tie could end up being the difference in making the playoffs, just like it is for the Steelers. So the Eagles and the Giants are both still alive. But the Eagles have the bad body language and the look of a team that's just banged up too much and look like they're reeling, while the Giants have momentum. Even though they've beaten bad teams, they have momentum. So that race for the NFC 6th seed between the Giants, the Eagles, and you say the Vikings, those would probably be the 3 teams I'd imagine you'd look at. But it's Green Bay. I mean, Green Bay could somehow make a run now because after Mike McCarthy left, which happens all the time. You get rid of the Colts, all of a sudden the team looks different. And that's what happened with Green Bay. They look better this week, and they won. But you can't even rule them out. They're the longest shot, but hey. And the race in the AFC for that last spot, which the teams that you had the Titans win against, so they kept pace. You had, again, the Ravens lost, but they were ahead on that, so they're still right there. Dolphins win in a miracle, so they keep pace. And the Colts win a game that they had to have, and which is probably one of the biggest. I picked them to win, but it's probably one of the biggest wins of the weekend because if they lose that game, they're out. They beat the Texans 24-21, and now they keep pace, and they're 7-6. So the Colts very much alive, and the Colts to me are still the team I like the most for that 6th seed because of the fact I think they've been playing really good, except for the game against Jacksonville. But their offense has been very good. I think they have the best offense of those teams, and their defense is showing a lot of promise. They beat a Texan team that was very hot. And we said they were due, but still they were very hot and still have to win the game, and they did. So it's a big win for the Colts. So you got the Colts still in that bid, and the Broncos. Or the only other team besides the Ravens that lost, but they were ahead of the game. They were already behind the game, so that loss hurts them more. And now they sit there at 6-7. So Broncos look like they're going to be on the outside, and that loss to 49ers was huge, huge, huge. And so now you look at Tennessee, you look at Baltimore, Miami, and the Colts. One of those teams is going to be the final spot. Now, of course, if the Ravens end up taking the division and the Steelers drop completely out, then that changes the game a little bit more. It makes it easier. But then you don't have to deal with the Ravens anymore. So, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. So you got to look at the AFC North and you got to look at the AFC 6th seed. Those are going to be the two most compelling races in the AFC, along with looking at New England and what they do and whether they can get to that 2 seed or not. Because if they don't, it ends up being the Chiefs in the 1. And who are we looking at for the 2? Probably the Texans, right? Yeah, it'd be the Texans for the 2. Could be interesting. And then the NFC, that race for the NFC 6th seed, because now the Packers still alive, and now the again the Giants and the Eagles all alive for that last spot. Seattle looks like they're gone, so you got that going on, and the Vikings in there too. That's gonna be interesting. And then of course, what happens between the Rams and the Saints? Who will get the 1? Who will get the 2? All very, very interesting. And before somebody said, well, what about the Panthers? They're out. They lost to the Browns. And not that the Browns are bad this year, because they're not. They're 5-7-1. And Baker Mayfield's great. But they just been on a rut. They're 1-6 on the road. They've completely fallen off the pace. They're not going to do anything. I don't look at the Panthers anymore. I really don't. I should be, because if we're keeping the Giants alive and the Eagles alive, the Eagles are 6-7, the Giants are 5-8. So why not the Panthers? But the Panthers are kind of going the opposite way. The Eagles are kind of in the middle, and the Giants are going up. So you look at the momentum, and that just makes you think that the Panthers don't have a chance. So it is what it is. So big upsets, huge upsets, miracle plays, big wins, and now we have ourselves a hell of a final end to the season over these next 3 weeks. We do. I didn't think we would, but we do. And it's going to make for a lot of fun games. I'm telling you, this is going to be great for the league. I didn't think we'd get it, but I'm glad we are. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that's what you want. You want compelling storylines. You want entertainment, and you're going to get that in spades in these final 3 weeks, because nothing's going to be settled this week. It's going to be settled. It's going to probably come down to the last. It's going to come down to the last week, I think, for some of these things, for a lot of these things. So it's going to be crazy, 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 crazy to see what happens. All right, so before we jump in and go look at what's coming up here, as I've already kind of previewed a little bit about what's coming up, because last week set the stage for some major drama here, not just this week, but in the weeks to come here. Our picks for this last week, how did we do? I'm trying to pull them up. Here we go. Come on, open up. Okay. Here we go. All right. So week 14, we had Chiefs over Ravens. We barely got that win. Patriots over Dolphins. That was a miraculous loss. Colts over Texans. That was my upset pick of the week. That's a win for me. Cowboys over Eagles. That's a win. Rams over Bears. I lost that one. Seahawks over Vikings. That's a win. So I finally broke my 3-3, and I get a 4-2 for week 14. So very, very good. Finally nice to be over 500. So that's good. I'll take that. That's probably the best I'm going to be able to do with the way things are going. So big, big, big for me. All right. So big, big, big because I like to win, be over 500. That's why. All right. So week 15 and final 3 weeks of the season here, stretch run. Teams trying to salt playoff spots away, try to win divisions, try to win home field, all that kind of stuff. Lots of big games, and we'll start with Thursday. Right out of the gate, I'm going to make some picks. As you all know, I'll go down the list of games. I'll tell you which games we're going to make picks for. I'll give you a favorite in every game, but I'll tell you which games I'm going to make picks for. I'm going to pick the first game of the week right out of the gate here because it's a good game. This Thursday, 8:20 p.m. Eastern on Fox. 10-3 Chargers come into 11-2 Kansas City to play the Chiefs, who are 6-0 at home. Chargers being very good on the road at 5-1. Now, here's the scary thing. If the Chargers win this game, they tie the Chiefs for the division. So this is a big game because then you start looking at the Chargers. Chargers could end up being home field. Huge game. So this is a big game. I still like the Chiefs even without Kareem Hunt, but boy, are they vulnerable. They are a very vulnerable team right now. Again, their defense leaves a lot to be desired. Chargers probably have the better defense. Chiefs have the better offense probably, and they do look more vulnerable without Kareem Hunt. I'm still going to go with the Chiefs at home, but I think it's going to be a very close, very, very, very close game. A lot of offense, but I like the Chiefs to survive it. But that's going to be a tough, tough game for them. And if the Chargers ever want to shake things up, boy, they'd win that game. But I'm picking the Chiefs to win that game. All right, now let's go to Saturday. Remember, we start Saturday games now in the final three weeks of the season. So Saturday, December 15th, we have two games. 4:30 p.m. Eastern on the NFL Network. The 9-4 Texans, 4-2 on the road, go into East Rutherford MetLife Stadium to take on the 4-9 Jets, who are 2-4 at home. Not going to pick this game. Texans should win it. Jets got a nice win last week, but the Texans are better, and they've come off a loss. They'll win it. 8:20 p.m. Eastern, again on the NFL Network. The 5-7-1 Browns, 1-5 on the road, go into Denver to take on the 6-7 Broncos, 3-3 at home. 3-3 at home. Browns kind of are still alive, but Broncos a little bit closer. Broncos probably need the game a little bit more. I'm not picking this game, but it should be a good game. I could see the Browns winning. I could see the Broncos. I'd probably favor the Broncos at home, and knowing that they need the game a little bit more, they're closer to making it than the Browns are. But hey, don't sweep on the Browns. So I'll give the edge to Denver there, but not by much. All right, now the Sunday games. 1 o'clock Eastern game on Fox. The 3-10 Cardinals, 2-4 on the road, go to Atlanta to face the 4-9 Falcons. 3-4 on game doesn't really matter. I'm not picking it. I'd give the edge to Atlanta, but Atlanta's look back. There's sometimes they just boggle your mind. They should be so much better than they are. And Arizona surprised you already this year a couple of times. So, but I'd give the edge to Atlanta at home. 1 o'clock Eastern on Fox. The 5-8 Lions, 2-4 on the road, going to Buffalo to take on the 4-9 Bills, 2-4 at home. Not picking the game, doesn't really matter. I'll go with Detroit. I trust them more. I think Detroit's probably the best 5-8. Well, Giants are the best 5-8 team, but they're the second best. So I'd give the edge to Detroit. 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern game on Fox. The 5-7-1 Packers, 0-6 on the road, going to Chicago to take on the 9-4 Bears, 6-1 home. I'm actually going to pick this game, even though I probably shouldn't, because you figure the Packers haven't won a game on the road all season. What makes you think they can here? I think they're going to they looked like a different team last week, and maybe without Mike McCarthy, they're going to try to make a statement. I don't know. But I think they'll make this game a game. I'm still picking Chicago, especially since they're at home and they play like such a better team at home and their defense is so good. But I think Green Bay could keep this closer than people think. And it wouldn't surprise me if we look up and see Green Bay pull the upset. But I'm picking the Bears here in a close one. 1 o'clock Eastern game on CBS. 3-10 Raiders, 1-5 on the road at the 5-8 Bengals, 3-4 home. Not picking the game. I obviously would favor the Bengals since they're at home, but You look like so many injuries. They kind of look like a lame duck team right now. Raiders look like they're getting better as the year goes on. I could see the Raiders pulling it off. I'd give the edge to the Bengals at home, but I could see the Raiders pulling it off. All right, now a game I'm picking. 1 o'clock Eastern game on Fox. 8-5 Cowboys, 2-4 on the road at the 7-6 Colts, 4-2 home. 4-2 at home. Colts need the game more, although really both teams need this game. I like the Colts here. Even though the Cowboys have a very good defense, Colts play very well at home. Cowboys a different team on the road. Even though they got the good front line of defense, I think the Colts can handle that. They block very well for Andrew Luck. And I think as far as offense goes, Colts have the better offense being at home. I like the Colts to pull this off. Given how they beat the Texans, I think they can handle the Cowboys. So Colts over Cowboys. And I think the Cowboys are due just like the Texans are for a while. So I like the Colts over the Cowboys. And probably I think that's one of my bigger upsets of the week I'm picking. So another 1 o'clock from Eastern game on CBS. 7-6 Dolphins, 1-5 on the road, go into Minnesota, take on the 6-1 Vikings, 4-2 at home. Wow. I would pick this game. But I've already picked 3 games. There's 3 more games I want to pick, so I'm not going to pick this game because I just think it's going to end up being ugly. And I'm going to favor Minnesota only because I think their backs are against the wall and they need to get this win. And I do think they are better. But boy, the Dolphins, after what they did last week, have so much momentum. I could see them pulling it off if they weren't on the road. So being on the road is the big thing for me. I'm picking the Vikings in what's going to be an ugly, ugly game. 1 o'clock Eastern game on CBS. 7-6 Titans, 2-5 on the road at the 5-8 Giants, 2-4 at home. I like the Giants here. They're at home. I know Tennessee's beating some good teams, but Giants have a lot more. Even though the Titans won last week, they've been very inconsistent. One week they look like they could be a team to keep an eye on. The next week they look awful. Giants, I trust a little bit more. They got more momentum. I think they're the better team. I like the Giants to win this one. I'm not picking it, but I like the Giants. I'd favor them. 1 o'clock Eastern game on CBS. 6-7 Redskins, 3-3 on the road. Head into Jacksonville, take on the 4-9 Jaguars, 3-4 home. It's going to be an ugly game. I'm going to give the edge to Jacksonville because Redskins have a mess at quarterback, and they just look like they're just playing out the string here. And even though Jacksonville has a mess at quarterback too right now, they can do what they did to the Colts, just hold you down and win with their defense alone. So I'd give the edge to Jacksonville, which would be an ugly, ugly game, but I'm not picking it, so who cares? Next 2 games I'm not picking, so let's just get that away right now. 1 o'clock Eastern game on Fox, the 5-8 Buccaneers, 1-5 on the road at the 7-6 Ravens, 4-2 at home. Ravens should win this one. Bucks can give you a lot of trouble, but Bucks are going on the road here. Ravens should win it. 4:05 p.m. Eastern game on Fox, 8-5 Seahawks, 4-3 on the road at the 3-10 49ers, 3-3 at home. Seahawks should win this. They're on the road to closing things out here. Yeah, Seahawks should win this one, even though they're on the road. No question. Not picking it, but they should win it. All right. Here's the next final 3 games I am going to pick. All really big games. 4:25 p.m. Eastern game on CBS. 9-4 Patriots. 3-4 on the road. Head into Pittsburgh to take on the 7-5-1 Steelers. 3-3 on both teams coming off a loss. Both teams. Well, Pittsburgh reeling. Patriots kind of not sure what you're going to get with them. It should be a very close game. However, I trust New England far more than I trust Pittsburgh. And usually in December, they usually close things out. Last week was, I think, an anomaly and a mess by Bill Belichick at the end there. I like the Patriots here, knowing that they have to have this game to try to get back into the home field conversation as far as at least the 2 seed goes. I like the Patriots here to knock off the Steelers on the road and what should be a gritty, really tough, close game between 2 rivals. 8:20 p.m. Eastern game on NBC. Your Sunday night football game. 6-7 Eagles, 2-4 on the road at the 11-2 Rams, 6-0 at home. Tough game. I would have switched this and put the Patriots and the Steelers in this spot. But look, the Eagles, I think, are reeling. I think that was their last gasp last week. The Rams are coming off a loss and they're at home. The Rams are going to win this game. I think it's going to be ugly. I really don't. This is why I rule the Eagles out. That's why I rule them out after losing last week because their schedule just doesn't favor them. So, yeah, I'm going with the Rams here. I'm only picking this game because you like to think the Eagles, even in their state that they're in right now, with all the injuries in their secondary, could still keep up with teams. They could sometimes surprise you. That's the only reason why I'm picking it and it's a Sunday night football game. I like to pick it. But I don't see it here. I think the Rams win this one, especially coming off a loss. So, and then Monday Night Football, 8:15 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. 11-2 Saints, 6-1 on the road at the 6-7 Panthers, 5-1 at home. Last gasp for the Panthers. They have to win this game or they're out. And they've won 5 of their 6 games at home. So this is where they want this game. Saints have done very well on the road. They've won 6 of 7 on the road. Saints still have to win to keep pace with the Rams if they want to take home field advantage. I like the Saints here because the Panthers have been going the opposite way. They, again, we talked about earlier, just have not played well. I expect them to keep it close. I expect them to make it a good game. Would it surprise me if they won? No. And that's why I'm picking this game, because I think it will be a close competitive game. I'm just not picking them to win because I have no confidence in them. So Saints over Panthers, despite the fact that they're at home. So your picks for Week 15 of the NFL season: Chiefs over Chargers, Bears over Packers, Colts over Cowboys, Patriots over Steelers, Rams over Eagles, Saints over Panthers. Your picks for Week 15 of the NFL season. Obviously, we'll go over those picks, look back at Week 15, and of course, we'll get to Week 16 on next week's show. Should be a very, very good week of NFL games now that we've set the stage for. It should be a great end of the season. So we look forward to that. No college football this week. We'll get going on the bowl stuff next week as the bowl season begins to approach. So no college football tonight. Now we're gonna jump out of sports. We're gonna leave the rest of the. We're gonna talk baseball later, winter meetings, because I want to give it a chance to kind of breathe, because some things, if you've followed the winter meetings and the baseball offseason over the years, usually night 2, which is technically tonight, even though they're all there on Sunday. Night 2 of the winter meetings is usually the most active because they want to try to get things done tonight and tomorrow before they leave. So I expect a lot of things to start maybe going down tonight. So let's leave things to the end. We'll talk more about the winter meetings and baseball later. I want to get to wrestling and college basketball and all that stuff. So let me jump into the fray here, because I know Mike's been here and I know he doesn't want to talk football. So we're not going to talk football anymore. We're done with football. Mike?
I intentionally got here late.
I know you did. That's kind of why I told you.
Still talking about football.
Yes.
Brian, there are no words right now that cannot describe how much I want to kick you in the balls.
I understand you're having a tough night. Villanova lost to Penn.
Shut up.
We're all shocked by that, Mike, so I shouldn't even be throwing that in your face.
I don't want to hear it.
But we'll save that for a later time.
In the balls, Brian.
But we have lots of other things. We're gonna do wrestling right now because
so hard. You will not be able to have kids again.
Well, Mike's clearly in the spotlight. We're gonna talk wrestling right now. We got a pay-per-view, which we're not gonna do a full comprehensive preview of because I don't know how well it's gonna be. To me, it's just basically almost like a one-match show on Sunday. But Which if you saw the ending of SmackDown or heard about the ending of SmackDown, they clearly know it's a one-match show because that was the hottest segment of the night. But Mike, let me give you some good news. Did you hear the Kevin Owens news today?
I heard that Kevin Owens is making an appearance.
Well, he's making an appearance, but it also got out that it's looking like he'll be cleared in February at the latest, early March.
Yeah, we were all thinking that was probably going to be the case.
So they don't know if that means he'll get a big match or anything, because that was the big talk today. A lot of the WrestleMania matches are starting to come out.
Well, some of them are.
So now, look, none of this is one of them is a surprise to me. I had told you off the air I thought that maybe they'd go back to Triple H Batista because that was the match they were going to go for anyway. Now, it looks like if Triple H is fine, they'll do Triple H Batista, which is fine. Okay, that's what Batista wants, So we'll let that one slide. But the match that shocked me was the Shawn Michaels Daniel Bryan match.
I'm surprised about that too.
I mean, look, that's something they've wanted to do for years. I know that. And that one and Shawn Michaels and AJ, that's been one of the ones they wanted to do. But I didn't think, Shawn seemed, after everything happened at Crown Jewel, what looked like, hey, we're going to have Shawn Michaels for like a year. He's going to do all these matches. Seemed like it wasn't going to happen because he seemed like he was done. Now you're hearing that they might go to this, and Daniel Bryan's the current WWE champion. So what gives? I mean, are they going to take it off him before that? Are they going to? I mean, that's going to be the big question mark here as you go course, into WrestleMania season. I mean, look, if they do that match, that's going to be great. But I'm sure it's a dream of Daniel Bryan's. But at the same time, you know, you got other guys. You're wondering how they're going to be who they're going to fit with on the card. Cena, Undertaker. Where are you going to give these guys? Who are you going to give these guys to? And if Kevin Owens is ready, you know, what do you do? We'll go with him.
Where do you go with him? Well, you can give him Cena. That'd be an interesting match.
That you could give him Cena, and that allows you to even bring Owens back sooner and not have him be active. You can build the match that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be smart. Yeah, that'd be smart. I mean,
John Cena's open challenge at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and Cena's supposed to be doing a Raw thing anyway, so that would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. Now, the other match that was talked about today was Orton AJ, which I told you about off the air.
Everybody heard about that one.
And we knew about that. That's okay. I'm okay with that match. And then it was said that there's going to be a U.S. title match, and it's going to involve Rey Mysterio. The question is, who will be the one carrying the title in? Well, it's either going to be Nakamura, Andrade, or who? I forgot who the other choice was. I don't know who I don't know who the other choice was, but it was somebody else. I forgot who it was. But they made. I don't know if maybe it was Rusev. I don't know.
Could be Andrade Cien Almas.
Oh, that was the other. No, that was one of them. That was one of the choices. Him, and Nakamura, and there was a third choice for Ray. Hang on, I'm looking it up right now. I'm sorry. I thought I memorized it, but I didn't. That was the one I forgot about. Oh, Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's the third one.
All right.
So it's either going to be Joe, Nakamura, or Andrade Cien. So no matter which way you look at that, you're getting a good match for Ray.
Oh, absolutely.
Watch them just decide to put them all in a multi-guy match for the title.
It's a possibility. Although, if you have Rey Mysterio, you kind of want to do a singles match.
Yeah, you don't want to waste them.
Mm-hmm. But
yeah, that's what you're. So that's the ones that how got sports. So look, I like all of them. The only one I'm kind of skeptical of is Bryan and Michaels, only because I feel like you could do something else, but who knows? But at least we're finally starting to get some sense of the card, which we were, I guess because of what happened with Roman, you just don't. They had to scrap a lot of things. And of course, it got out this week that The Rock was supposed to be winning the Rumble and facing Roman. Now it's also rumored The Rock is going to go in the Hall of Fame. The question is, will Rock have a match at WrestleMania? One would think if he was open to doing this whole program, then he might be open to doing another program. So you got to keep that in mind too, that he could be somebody that gets put into WrestleMania season as well. I don't know what that means. We had heard that Brock was facing Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins is starting to throw daggers at Brock Lesnar. So you kind of think that's where they're going.
Makes you wonder, huh?
Yeah. So you kind of think that match is going to happen, but they've changed gears before. I mean, remember what happened years ago with Punk and Cena, where it was supposed to be they were having Punk tease Cena, and he ended up with Orton, and then Cena got Miz.
Mm-hmm.
These things happen. They could change gears in 3 weeks. So you just don't know. Some things you know, some things you don't. Like you kind of have an idea where they're going with Ronda Rousey and Charlotte and Becky and all them, but you don't. Some things you just don't know. So the WrestleMania stuff has been big today. You had Raw last night, which was a much better show than it's been the last few weeks. Too bad, they still got they hit a historic low in the ratings again. But I think you have to remember something too. Even though it was a better show last night, they had a great main event. They had Rollins call out, how the show's been stinking it up, and Ambrose was better portrayed. Even brought up the Roman stuff. Did a good job with that. They did better with the women's stuff. Nia Jax still was terrible on the mic, but it was a little bit better. I wish they wouldn't keep attached, throwing Ember Moon in with this Nia Jax stuff. But you know she, yeah,
Brian,
yeah.
Ember Moon has idolized Nia Jax,
That's what I was
her
gonna.
idol since she was a child. The
Yes.
person that convinced Ember Moon to start wrestling several years before Nia Jax actually started wrestling.
Of course. Of course.
So why wouldn't you throw Ember Moon in there? Ember Moon so looks up to Nia Jax's historic career that started in 2015. So many years after Ember Moon actually started wrestling herself. Truly, Nia Jax is an inspiration to many.
You know, here's the other thing too.
Actually, I shouldn't say that because Nia Jax, too many isn't an inspiration, and that's fair.
By the way, did you see? I don't know
But
if you
not
saw
Ember
this.
Moon.
Ember Moon's is there a boyfriend or her husband? I forget.
Husband. They
Husband was
recently got married.
yeah, he was calling out Nia Jax on Twitter, saying, "Well, I hope my wife doesn't get hurt."
I hope my wife doesn't come home injured this week.
Yeah, did you see that?
I did see that, yes. And while people have rightly criticized him for saying maybe he shouldn't have said that because that might put some heat on Ember Moon.
Right.
On the other hand,
he's right.
he is right. Nia Jax does not have the best track record of not injuring her opponents. And look, wrestling is not ballet, even though ballet dancers do get injured quite often. Wrestling, there is a lot of physicality that goes into wrestling. Accidents happen, people get stiffed, but Nia Jax seems to injure most of her opponents in some way.
Mm-hmm.
It's well documented. She almost paralyzed Charlotte. She did injure Bailey twice. She injured Sasha Banks more than once. She broke Becky Lynch's nose. She almost injured Asuka several times. And I guess Ember Moon has come out worse for wear. And by the way, Ember Moon alleged I read that she wrestled Tamina on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard Ember Moon really tried. Like I heard Ember Moon really tried in that match. It's just Tamina right now is extraordinarily limited and frankly couldn't keep up. And Tamina's a veteran. It's just maybe right now we could shift Tamina to I don't know because she's not doing well with like Ember Moon or with like wrestling. From what I understand, from what I'm reading, Tamina's having a hard time, keeping up with some of these opponents, and it's just her pacing's off, her timing's off. Maybe they should consider having Nia Jax and Tamina just being a tag team, and then never putting the tag team belts on them whenever they get tag team belts.
Yeah. Well, I think Tamina's problem is she's been injured for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, she'll come back for like a month and then she gets hurt again. It's kind of been her thing for what, a few years now.
It's been her thing for the better part of 10 years now.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of their thing. I think that's why they keep partnering her with people because they think it's gonna keep her around longer.
Well, if that's the case, you probably shouldn't be wrestling in singles matches.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of tag teams, in addition to the Rollins stuff at the beginning and end of the show, the best part of the show was probably seeing Bobby Roode and Chad Gable win the tag titles in fluke fashion. By the way, they're coming out to Bobby Roode's music, both of them, which I think is funny.
Yeah, let's have you heard Chad Gable's music?
Yeah,
you would come out to Bobby Roode's music too. Shut up.
And before you all think that they didn't protect AOP, they had Drake Maverick take the pin.
Was Drake Maverick supposed to be in that match?
Apparently he was. I didn't watch the whole thing, but apparently he was. He got pinned and they lost the titles. So,
That doesn't make any sense though. He's the manager.
well, apparently he's just not a manager anymore. Apparently he's an active part of the group.
Yeah,
So,
as a manager, he shouldn't.
yeah.
If you pin the manager, you don't win the tag titles.
Whatever is the case, you know what? They that division on Raw is really bad. They got to do something about it, and I think
You
they
know,
thought by
do,
what
do you know how you do something about it?
doing more with the revival.
AOP versus the Revival.
Well, they had Rollins call it out that the revival is being wasted, and they're doing urination segments, and like he said it all. It's basically everything that's been on the internet for the last month. So
Yeah,
you know,
and they just had him blame Baron Corbin because it was Baron Corbin's fault, right?
well, that's their typical. Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
They're Baron Corbin's the stand-in for Vince. That's really
Yeah.
what it is. So. And look, Baron Corbin, I think, has done a great job. Although I think the last couple of weeks they've really overexposed him a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that it was better before Survivor Series when you saw him like at the beginning in segments here and there instead of like every 15 minutes we're seeing Baron Corbin.
They have overexposed him, and the other problem with Baron Corbin is that never-ending feud he seems to have with Finn Balor.
Right, and
he really just needs to be an authority figure. Because
mm-hmm.
if you're not going to push Finn Balor to any significance, there's no point in feuding him with Baron Corbin.
My biggest problem with Baron Corbin, not necessarily even the GM thing, is that he's essentially filler outside the GM thing. So like anytime somebody needs a filler opponent, you get Baron Corbin, you get the win, you move on with your life. They've done nothing to make Baron Corbin like credible. That's the thing. I mean, they tried with that Seth Rollins match last night,
No,
but
Seth worked his ass off.
He did, but that's the first time in how long that Baron Corbin's had a match where you're like, huh, wow, Baron Corbin kind of looks like a threat. I mean, they just don't do it. I mean, he's gonna get squat. I mean, it's obvious they're gonna run. They've been pushing the whole idea that he's gonna win by forfeit on Sunday. You know what's gonna happen? Braun's gonna show up. It's gonna be like a 30-second match.
Well, yeah.
That's what it is, and that's why they gave Corbin that match last night. I think that's exactly why they gave him that match because they know on Sunday he's gonna get squashed. So it's going to be like a fail safe because he's going to go back down the ladder and he's going to be a normal competitor again.
Although it makes you wonder why they ran a ladder match.
Yeah.
Before TLC, where Rollins and Ambrose have to.
Well, because Rollins
ladder match.
You know why? Because Rollins is going to lose on Sunday. Need an excuse for him to not be strong. He just went through a ladder match on Monday and he goes against Ambrose on Sunday and he's all beat up.
So Dean Ambrose is going to get another Intercontinental title reign?
Well, it's part of... You knew that was going to happen. It's part of the story. But, yeah.
Sure. I mean, I guess you got to get the Intercontinental title. Well, do you think Brock would be interested in the Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania?
My belief is that Ambrose is going to take it. Rollins will eventually get it back, and then they'll find a way to get it off of him before Mania. It won't be an Intercontinental title match. There's no way.
Well, it'd be funny if the Intercontinental Champion wrestled Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
I think it'd be good for the belt. But, I mean, I don't think they're going to do it. But we'll see. I mean, stranger things have happened. I mean, to me, it's clear they're going to rush through this Ambrose feud because, I mean, last night they kind of got it a little bit back. You took it a little more seriously. They played it better last night. But still, they last few weeks, they really kind of, I don't know. But regardless,
although for the Raw side, it's probably the most exciting match of the bunch.
No doubt. And yes, Finn Balor will be back for Sunday. He is dealing with an illness. That's why he was sent home from the tour early this weekend. He will have his match on Sunday. Although you've seen that match before, so.
Oh yeah, Dean what match is it? Is it
it's Finn Balor and Drew McIntyre. Yeah,
well, who cares?
We know who's going to win it, but yeah.
Yes, who cares?
They gave Drew his loss to Ziggler. That's it. But yeah, and then you got. We'll talk about the match in a second. But yeah, Finn Balor will be back for Sunday. So I thought Raw was an improvement last night. SmackDown I thought was better. I thought they did more with their time. I like the fact they had Daniel Bryan face Mustafa Ali.
That was a match people didn't know they wanted until they got it. And honestly, it could have been booked better. And honestly, they could have done a little bit more to make Mustafa Ali a star. But
Mm-hmm.
from what, and I haven't seen it, but from what I heard, the match was freaking outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess a lot of the 205 Live guys were watching in the back, and it was a big deal.
I heard Ali and Bryan did some amazing, and obviously that makes sense. Ali is probably, and knowing who's on that show, Ali is probably the most talented high flyer of the bunch.
Right.
And yes, I know who's on the show, but Ali is probably heads and tails above
Yeah.
everybody else, and Daniel Bryan is Daniel Bryan. The only guy Daniel Bryan can't have a good match with is apparently AJ Styles.
So that seems to be a trend.
Ironically.
Yeah. But no, I mean, look. I like that they did it. They did a whole promo, and I like that they did it. I wish they do more of that with the cruiserweights. And I mean, too bad. Too bad it wasn't on a pay per view because you would give it more time.
If Mustafa Ali versus Daniel Bryan was on a pay per view, that match would get 20 minutes, and people would be saying it'd be a match of the year candidate, except for Dave Meltzer, who won't even say that because there were other good matches that happened this week, including 50 matches that happened in Japan.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, for what it was, it's getting rave reviews. So
I'm gonna have to go out of my way to watch that match.
they did a rap battle with the Bar, New Day, and the Usos, which I heard was actually it was so bad it was funny.
I heard it was the best way to cool down the crowd after a really hot start.
Yeah.
But I heard Sheamus and Cesaro really tried.
Look, at least their tag division has 3 credible teams in it. So,
is it only 3?
well, it's usually the same 3 always involved: the Usos, the Bar, and New Day. So,
well, I mean, you could throw the club in there, but
yeah.
When was the last time you saw the club on television?
But their tag divisions is better. You gotta admit.
Yeah, because they have all 3 of the teams they legitimately give a shit about on one show.
It's true. We had a match between Rusev, Jeff Hardy, Samoa Joe, and Shinsuke Nakamura, which Rusev pinned Shinsuke Nakamura. He pinned Nakamura, I think. So there's that. The Miz Shane McMahon thing continued with them facing the Vegas Boys. They won. Miz is still running around saying he's the best in the world with Shane, and Shane took the trophy and people booed him. So it's clear what they're trying to do is they're trying to make Shane look like an asshole and Miz look favor. You don't need to have this program to do that.
No.
We already know that. We already know that Shane's turning heel here. We don't need to whatever. I guess Paige was pretty funny there, but and then the Orton Mysterio, there was an Orton promo. They announced Orton versus Mysterio in a chairs match on Sunday. I figured they're going to add Orton to the card for some reason. They haven't done anything with him. It's okay. It'll be a good match, whatever. And like I said, the biggest stuff was the Asuka Charlotte Flair match and the thing at the end, and then the DQ because Charlotte brought a kendo stick in from under the ring and hit Asuka with it. And then Flair kept swinging on Asuka. Becky came in. There was a big confrontation. And then they all started going crazy on kendo sticks, ending with Asuka grabbing the stick and unloading on Charlotte, and then Becky and Asuka ended the night standing tall. So
typically that means Asuka isn't winning.
right now she's the favorite. So
but to be honest with you, it's the only scenario that kind of has any semblance of sense, knowing where they want to go from here.
These last few weeks has been Operation Build Asuka back up. Let's just be honest. That's really, and that was what tonight was too. Build her back up, but remind people of her being this dominant presence, and they did a good job tonight. I will admit that they did. And look, that match on Sunday, we know it's going to main event. And it's going to be awesome. So,
okay, you had Becky versus Charlotte at Evolution in a no DQ street fight match. It was one of the best matches all year
Mm-hmm.
with an
Not,
amazing finish. So you've already seen what two of these people can do. You had Charlotte versus Asuka, finish aside, which was one of the best matches at WrestleMania. Again, finish aside.
side, right.
So you had that. So now, and Asuka, who's an amazing wrestler, and Becky Lynch, who's an amazing wrestler, and Charlotte Flair, who's an amazing wrestler, and they're going to be in a TLC match. And honestly, it's the only match going in with an immense amount of heat. So what would you do? You have to. I feel like you have to main event with that, because what else you can main event with? I mean, the only other match you could possibly main event with is Bryan versus Styles. And let's be honest here, the WWE title hasn't main evented a pay per view since SmackDown had its own solo pay per view.
Right. And look, here's the thing, okay? On paper, AJ and Daniel Bryan should be an immensely great match. But every AJ Dream match has been a mess. It's the truth. They've all had. I mean, yeah, some of them have been better than others, but they've all been like it's something's been missing from each and every one of them. And I'm not going to blame Daniel Bryan. We've seen Daniel Bryan in great matches. It's like we've seen Kevin Owens in great matches, Shinsuke Nakamura in great matches, and Samoa Joe in great matches. Noticing my trend?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So, well, again, I'm sick of this narrative. I know I like AJ, but I'm sick of the narrative that AJ carries these guys. No, he doesn't. He does not. Because I'm going to tell. I mean, the only match, consistently good match, is AJ's having anybody in this company, okay, with Roman Reigns and John Cena.
He had a good match with Brock.
Okay, the Brock, okay, the Brock match, yeah. But outside of that, it was Cena and Roman.
He had that one really good match with Finn Balor.
The one when the pay-per-view had to be completely scrapped. Yeah, right. Okay, all right. Okay, fair enough.
Then again, he had that one really good match with Finn Balor, who, when properly motivated, Finn Balor's one of the best 3 wrestlers in the company too.
Right. Well, listen, we have the card. We know what. Look, I'm not gonna go match by match because I don't want to take forever. And TLC pay per view historically is like almost like a toss together, right? It's the last pay per view of the year. It always happens close enough to Christmas where people are like, "Ugh, I don't care." I don't think this is the worst card they've ever had, because they do have some matches that on paper should end up being good matches. The main event we talked about, which I think is gonna be Charlotte, Asuka, and Becky. Ronda Nia. Look, the first time around, Ronda Nia was actually a decent match. It was, for better or worse. It was.
And now people actually want to see Nia Jax lose an awful lot.
So I think that's gonna be a match that people care about. I think it's gonna be okay. You got Finn Drew, which on paper is not bad. Elias is facing Bobby Lashley, which is gonna be a nice little nod to Elias. Ray and Orton will be good, just because. Let's see what else there. Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose.
That should be fine.
What's the one I'm missing? I'm missing another one.
I'm looking at the show now.
I'm actually doing the same thing. I'm just trying to. For some reason, I'm not getting the card.
I feel like we should quickly go through these matches.
Oh, okay, we can do that. We can go quick through them because there's only 2 of us anyway. But if I can get the card to pull up, that would be great. There it is. Finally.
Oh, and by the way, let's start with the Mixed Match Challenge final. And by the way, this final will guarantee that nobody would give a shit about the Mixed Match Challenge in the future. It's Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox versus
R-Truth
and Carmella.
Are you for real?
Nobody will give a shit about
that
match.
Do you know what that tells me? We're not going to see this back next year.
Mixed Match Challenge is dead.
Yeah, they don't. If they cared, they would have put somebody else in there.
If they cared, it would have meant a couple of people would be doing double duty, honestly. But the final match would have been Finn Balor and Bayley versus Asuka and
Miz.
So
Yeah.
mixed
Yeah.
match. So all that confirms is mixed match challenge is dead.
Yeah. I agree.
All right. Braun Strowman versus Corbin.
Tables, ladders, and chairs match. Squash match. Minute if you're
Squash.
lucky.
Yeah. Braun wins.
Easy. Braun wins. Yep. Easy. Not much to talk about there. We already talked about it. I don't know if there's going to be a kickoff match or not. So I imagine something will be. I think they'll move the Cruiserweight Championship match to kickoff.
No, it'll be the mixed match challenge final.
Oh, that's right. The mixed match challenge final. So yeah, nobody will care. I'm not even going to pick that. I think they'll give it to R-Truth and Carmella. That we might
you know
pick.
what? Just to be contradictory, I think it'll be Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox.
Oh Jesus.
Why not? Who cares?
All right. Well, let's talk about the Cruiserweight Championship match. That's Buddy Murphy versus Cedric Alexander.
Rematch from the Super Show.
Super Showdown. Yep.
Super Show.
Yeah.
Okay. WWE Super Slam.
It was better than Crown Jewel.
Yeah. Well, everything's better than Crown Jewel.
Hmm.
WWE Super Slam. Anyway, that match is going to be good. Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander had a really good match at Super Slam. They'll have a really good match here.
Super Showdown.
I think it's too early for them to put the title back on Cedric. I think it's too early to take the title off of Buddy Murphy, and I think the WrestleMania match is going to be Murphy versus Ali anyway.
Right. Buddy Murphy's retaining here. It'll be a good match, though.
Oh, yeah, it'll be very good.
It'll be good. So, Buddy Murphy's retaining here. Okay, let's get the Rey Mysterio Orton chairs match out of the way. I'm going to... What? Orton won a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
I think they'll probably have Orton win again, because if Orton's going to face Styles, they're going to want him to be strong.
You know what? You don't need to have Randy Orton strong going into an AJ Styles.
I know, but I'm
just Mysterio needs a singles win at some point.
Yeah, otherwise that U.S. title thing don't matter. I mean, I see your point, but I think Orton's going to win because they're going to make him look like a brutal monster in this match.
Probably, but I actually think Ray could probably get one.
Okay, so you're going Ray, I'm going Orton.
Sure.
That what we're doing? Okay. But yeah, I mean, look, these two are great. It'll be a good match, but I think they're going the whole evil, despicable Randy Orton because they've been pushing the violent angle of him all along anyway. So, Elias versus Bobby Lashley in a ladder match, and that's the reason why I think Elias is going to win.
Yeah, because Lashley doesn't need to get pinned.
Yeah.
No, I guess he does. I don't know. Who cares?
Elias is going to win. I think that there's no reason they've gone out of their way to make Bobby this insurmountable. It's going to be a fluke win though.
Sure, like Elias will hit Lashley with the guitar and then
So I think
pin him immediately.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's going to be a fluke win. It's it's just a way to get Elias a big win. They've gone all the way to make him seem like insurmountable to him. So yeah, it'll be what it is. Elias gets on the card. Whatever. He'll beat him. I think. They don't seem to care about Bobby being in this unbeaten kind of guy. So whatever. Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre, which is right now is still on. They're expecting him to be there on Sunday, so it will be a good match.
Yeah.
Do we care?
No,
because Drew's probably going to win because Drew's the other than Braun Strowman, that's the guy. So.
Outside of the 1 week, they have done nothing to make you think that Finn Balor is going to beat Drew McIntyre.
Yeah,
they have done nothing. This is coming from somebody who really likes Finn Balor.
Right.
They have done nothing to make me care about that feud or that match.
Right. Yeah, Drew McIntyre is winning, and and I would not be the least bit surprised if they write Finn off for a week or two after this, just because they want to keep pushing the whole Drew's going to destroy your heroes thing.
Sure.
They've already done that kind of already, but, they could keep reinforcing it. We got Natalya versus Ruby Riott in a tables match. Natalya's going to win.
Yep.
I mean, I'm glad that they gave them a feud here, especially since they missed Survivor Series. I'm glad that they did this, and it's good for Natalya, and it gives her a chance to kind of have a match here and have something of significance. Natalya's going to win, though.
They have tried to make this an emotional kind of match for Natalya
Yeah.
and Ruby Riott, but at some point, Ruby Riott's got to win a feud somewhere.
Yeah, but this is
probably not where it starts.
This is not the one. Yeah, the way that they booked it, there's no way that she's not winning it. So, yeah, Natalya's going to win it, and good for them. At least they get a good match together. So, The Bar versus the New Day versus the Usos SmackDown Tag Team Triple Threat match. This could be good.
Why is it a triple threat match? Last time I checked, it was just Bar versus Usos.
That must have been a change. The triple threat match.
It'll probably be good, but
it'll be good.
At some point, I kind of want to see the Bar as champions versus literally somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bar wins here, but
I don't.
I think the Bar wins here, and if they don't win, I think the Usos win by pinning someone in the New Day.
I have this.
I don't want to see either of these teams, though. I want to see the Bar just continue and just do something else.
I have this feeling that they're, and I feel like this every year around this time because it always seems like it's a New Day and the Usos.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where they're going for Mania, so I feel like this is their way. This is their way of getting the titles off. Remember, we've been hearing all these rumors about the Bar. I feel like this is it. I feel like this is the way they're going to take it off them, and then they'll play the rematch at like the Rumble or something, and then they'll move them away from it. I don't know. I just feel like this is it. I think this is the way that they're going to do it.
It could be, but I think you could probably have the Bar go one more month.
That's what I would at least do that, but again, I don't book it.
You know what I would do is I'd have the Bar go another month and at Rumble bring up a tag team from NXT.
Well, that would be ideal. That would be ideal.
Because we've seen, I'm kind of, yes, the New Day and the Usos have good matches, but honestly, I'm sick of seeing those two teams battle for the tag titles.
No, I agree.
Over and over. Just Jesus Christ. The Bar's a breath of fresh air, and I know I'm a Sheamus mark, but still.
Well, it's not even that, but they at least they give the Bar, breaks in between.
Yeah.
The Bar had that couple months where they were kind of out of it, and they came back into the fray. So,
and to be quite honest with you, since the New Day got there, it has literally been the New Day or the Usos with the SmackDown tag titles.
Right.
And it has been nonstop.
Right.
And the Bar is like a breath of fresh air.
No, I don't disagree. I just think I just figure it's gonna be either the New Day or the Usos that win. I'm gonna go New Day. I don't think they'll give it to the New Day.
I think it's either the Bar or the Usos.
So it'll be a good match though. For sure.
It'll be good. It'll be fine.
Okay, we already did Braun Strowman, Baron Corbin. We spoke of this match earlier, Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax. The crowd will be heated and into this because they want to see Ronda Destroyer.
Do you remember that the Bludgeon Brothers were champions for a while there? But
yeah. When they got injured.
They got an injury. But let's be honest here. It's been. Can you name the last tag champions that weren't the Usos, the Bludgeons, or the New Day?
Yeah.
American Alpha.
Yeah.
Then it was the Usos, the New Day, the Usos, the New Day, the Usos, the Bludgeons, the New Day, and then the Bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need a break from the Usos and the New Day. Sorry.
No, I agree. But yeah, Ronda Rousey's going to retain here. We'll see what kind of match we get here, but I think any chance this being a competently, I know they want Nia Jax to have heat, and I know I know this is probably not going to happen. It's probably a pipe dream on my part that they have Ronda squash her here. I don't think they'll ever have Nia Jax get squashed, but boy, there's ever been an opportunity to do it. This would be a time to do it, but I don't. They'll have it be a competent match, but Ronda's winning.
Yeah, Ronda's winning. I don't think it'll be as competent as you think it is. I think it's a quick match, and Ronda just wins.
All right, Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose.
Just a singles match.
Yeah, I thought they'd add more too, but I guess given the fact that it's the kind of the first actual match in this version of the rivalry, I guess that's probably why they didn't. Um, Ambrose, I think, is going to win.
Probably.
One of the things I thought they might do with this match, based on how Ambrose was talking, was that they'd have it be like if Rollins gets disqualified or something, that he loses the title. Because they kept having this idea that Rollins is losing it with him because he can't, get, Dean's playing hard to get, whatever, you know what I mean? And Ambrose kept saying in the promo on Monday, you're going to lose it and then you're going to lose your title. So I kept thinking, oh, that's usually when they employ the whole, if you get DQ'd or whatever, you lose your title. So Ambrose makes you snap, and Ambrose has been doing all this psychological stuff with him. I kind of thought that's where they were going to go with it. But I guess not. I mean, they could always add that on Sunday, I guess. But, that's either way, it's going to be a fun match. These two are always fun together. I think Ambrose is going to win here, and I think he takes the championship.
Yep.
You agree? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sure. All right. I'm leaving the women's match for last. I think that's the main event. It should be the main event. So WWE Champion Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. We said it earlier, on paper, this should be a great match, but every AJ Dream match is such a disappointment.
Yep.
So, good match, but I think we all can predict the result. Daniel Bryan's going to retain, right?
Yep.
So by some way, Daniel Bryan's going to retain. They'll probably drag this out to the Rumble and that'll be, that'll probably be the last singles match. They probably, I think Elimination Chamber, they'll probably have them in the chamber together, but
probably DQ finish.
Yeah, So yeah, Bryan's going to retain, though. I'm not saying it's going to be clean, but Bryan's going to retain. All right, the match that's going to probably be the main event. SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. Triple threat TLC match. We already talked at length about this. Should be very good. Asuka's the current favorite, and I think that's exactly who's going to win. I think Asuka's going to win. It's the easiest way to take the title off of Becky, to move her towards Ronda Rousey. It's an easier way to take the title away from Charlotte, to move her towards Ronda Rousey. So, yeah, Asuka, I think, wins the title in an awesome, awesome match. Mike?
I agree. I actually do think Asuka's going to win here for once. Because, I've been picking Asuka to win for pretty much all year. I think this is probably the best match for it to happen in, because Becky doesn't have to get pinned, and she can kind of go into the Royal Rumble as freaking hot favorite. Looking forward to Ronda Rousey, because that's who her feud's with. And if you're going to put Charlotte in that direction too, well, then it makes no sense for Charlotte to kind of continue on here. But I think Charlotte's getting Ronda at the Rumble.
Right.
I don't know how that's going to happen. Probably an interbrand match or something, but I think Charlotte's getting Ronda at the Rumble. And I think Becky wins the Rumble. But Becky can't be in the Rumble match unless she's the champion. If she's the champion, she's not in the match. So I think Asuka... I think the most sensible thing is for Asuka to kind of win here.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean she will. They might just be like, oh, Charlotte gets another run. Ha, 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 ha. So, unfortunately, the only person who I don't think walks out of here as champion is Becky Lynch.
Right.
It's either going to be Asuka or Charlotte. I think it's going to be Asuka here, because I think they're finally going to give her a moment.
I agree. So, I think this could end up being a fairly decent pay-per-view. Obviously, your expectations are going to be low, but usually I with TLC. But I think it could be a fairly decent pay-per-view. So we'll see what happens. We'll obviously talk about the fallout and all that stuff next week. All right, so that's the wrestling. Somebody's like, oh, you didn't want to talk about Heath Slater's turn as a referee last night?
I didn't watch Raw, so I don't care.
He tried to screw over Rollins to help Baron Corbin, because Baron Corbin kept threatening his job. It was predictable. There's not much to talk about there. We're moving on to basketball. I'm sorry, we're done wrestling. And let me look, this basketball segment's gonna be ridiculously short because it's been a fairly uneventful week. We're in that part of the season now where, as Mike will tell you, it's kind of like that. You might get a good matchup here and there, but generally speaking, you're kind of moving into like until we get to January now. It's pretty much you're filling up your non-conference and just getting through these games. Obviously, we had a significant upset tonight. I'm not gonna bring it up. I already mentioned it. Mike doesn't want me to bring it up, so I'm not going to. But we had that significant upset tonight. Some people are going to look at the top 25 and go, oh my God, Furman's in it. How is Furman in it? Well, Furman's not a bad team, so keep an eye on them. That's why they're in the top 25. This week we've seen, what was it? We had Syracuse Georgetown game on Saturday. It was really good. So don't sleep on Georgetown either because they've proven themselves to be quite the competitor. But I mean, I'm trying to think about off the top of my head because I have some notes here on some games I want to mention. Oh, Tennessee beating Gonzaga is probably the most significant thing of the week. Gonzaga almost got beat by Creighton. Tennessee got them. And Tennessee's the team that, if you look outside the top 5, is the team that would scare me the most. They can shoot the ball well. They play good defense. They're very hard to guard. They're a team that would scare me. I can't include Michigan then because Michigan's in the top 5 now, but they scare me. And you got teams like Virginia and Kansas that are in the top 5. I would take those 2 out. I'd put Tennessee in, and Michigan I would put in there. And Michigan's already in there, so I don't have to worry about that. But they're so far and away better than Virginia and Kansas are at this point, in my opinion. So, and Nevada's even better. And Nevada's 10-0, but they haven't played anybody, so nobody's talking about them. So, but Tennessee beating Gonzaga, that's probably the big significant moment of the week. And then you had the big game on Saturday with Kentucky and Kentucky and Seton Hall, which was a huge win for Seton Hall, 84-83 in overtime. Probably one of the best games of the season, if not the best game of the season. Great game there. Seton Hall's got a nice win in their back pocket there.
Sorry. There was a gift tonight of LeBron James and his game against the Heat tonight. I'm trying to see what he literally throws the ball at a Miami Heat's player's nuts. While trying to save it, he literally just aimed for the guy's. What's his name? This Miami Heat player was the one who injured Kevin Love.
Oh.
In 2015's long hair white dude.
Okay.
He literally just saved the ball and aimed at his nuts. Hold on, sorry, I gotta play it.
I'm actually looking at it right now. Mike's right. That's pretty funny. That's funny. Wow. That's funny.
It's the funniest thing that's happened in basketball tonight.
That's good. That's good. And that was a pretty sentimental night. That was the last Wade and LeBron matchup, I think.
Do you know who it was? It was and this just makes it so much better. LeBron James and Kelly Olynyk in the nuts. That fucking asshole never learned.
So you're gonna be playing that on a loop?
I have linked that tweet, and I have watched it at least 3 times. He fucking nailed Kelly Olynyk in the balls. Kelly Olynyk, who had throughout his entire time in Gonzaga, and he was a competent center. He just never learned how to dribble. But every time he got the ball, decided to, I'm just going to go right up to the basket. I'm not going to dribble. And nobody decided to catch him and call travel on him ever. And
oh, my goodness.
In 2015, he I guess he inadvertently injured Kevin Love.
Yeah.
So LeBron James, even now, as a Los Angeles Laker, is helping Cleveland out. By making sure Kelly Olynyk ain't having any kids tonight. Got him. He got him right in the nuts, and then he kind of walks right over and just yanks him up. Like, get the fuck up. Yanks him up. Like, if I separate you shoulder doing this, well, you earned it. This is for Kevin Love.
Oh my goodness. That's great. Oh my God, that's great. Oh, now how can I get back on track now? Because that was great.
That's how you do it.
I said the Kentucky Seton Hall game. Tulsa beat Kansas State, which everybody can jump off the Kansas State bandwagon now. And by the way, you know what the final score in that game was? 47-46.
Yep.
Big 10 special, even though it's a Big 12 game. Well, for Kansas State, anyways, Big 12. Marquette beat Wisconsin, so that's a big win for them. Buffalo continued to be very, very good. Let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. Because I think Saturday was really the biggest, most eventful day until today. Nevada beat Arizona State, as they should, on Friday night. Purdue beat Maryland, but that wasn't that much of a surprise. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. By the way, I should clarify. When I said last week that Buffalo was playing Lemoyne, it wasn't Lemoyne. What we know, it was another Lemoyne. So don't. Yeah. So I just felt like I should clarify that. But yeah, so again, not a very eventful week in college. Again, this is mid-December now, so you're not gonna. I mean, you've had some upsets. Obviously, Gonzaga losing Villanova tonight. Over the next week, you don't really have too many games. I mean, LSU Houston tomorrow is not bad. Let's see here. Nothing on Friday worth mentioning. Villanova Kansas on Saturday is a good one. That's probably the best. Villanova will want that game.
They're going to need that game.
They're going to need that game. They'll want that game. Butler, Indiana, that's a classic. Gonzaga, North Carolina, that's a good one too. So Saturday has some good games. It's usually Saturdays that have the best games anyway. So a couple good games there. Great games actually there. Sunday I don't think has anything. St. Louis, Houston might be okay. Arizona State, Vanderbilt. Next Tuesday, Buffalo, Syracuse, which is a game you're going to want to check out because that's a huge game. That's going to be a huge game for Syracuse. More than Buffalo, I think. I think that's kind of ironic, but it's the truth. So, yeah. So Saturday's pretty much it for big games. So not going to be a very eventful week. But, again, it's that time of year. Until January, it's just going to be like a good matchup here and there, usually on Saturday, and that's about it. So not much you can talk about in the few upsets you get. Again, we'll offer a college basketball preview next week. Not a whole comprehensive one, but we'll make some picks and have some fun like we do. I waited later this year because I thought it would be better to wait a full month and a half into the season. Sometimes it seems like every year it gets harder and harder to read these teams until maybe you get into about maybe 10 or so games into a season. So I figured it was better to do it that way, and that's why we did it that way. So there you go. So yeah. But things will pick up as far as basketball goes once you get to around January when the conference play starts. In Big Ten, it started a little bit already, but, in full force, I mean. Again, no college. We're not talking full college football tonight. We'll pick up with that next week with the bowls. Mike gave us an NBA mention. I'm not going to talk any more about the NBA because, again, it's still early. We should get to December. We don't really talk much about it. We pick up the NBA more around midseason when the trades start happening. Although again, Mike gave us an important news beat about LeBron James hurting Kelly Olynyk. So
right in the balls.
In the balls, yes.
Brian, on this, the most sacred of days. This is, of course, happy Kevin Owens debut day. Oh
yes, it is today, isn't it? I saw it. I'm only reason why I knew that is because somebody posted something about it earlier.
Yes, Kevin Owens actually posted a text he shared with NJ and New Japan Pro Wrestling's Juice Robinson, otherwise known as CJ Parker in NXT. That was a debut match. About how I think Kevin Owens said, "Hey, uh, something wrong. He's like, who would have thought that you breaking my nose would lead to a pure and wonderful professional wrestling friendship, something like that.
Yeah. So,
But yes, happy Kevin Owens debut day. This is a sacred day.
let me bring this up while I'm on the air, because I know you have something to say about this, and I know I'm shifting to baseball, but you love these opportunities to go after the Hall of Fame voters. These aren't the usual Hall of Fame voters. This was the Veterans Committee, which is called the Eras Committee now. And I used to have faith in them, and a lot of people I like are on this committee: Tim Kirchin, Joe Torre. And I'm not I'm not saying that again, you have to get. I think it's like what 75% of the vote to get in. When it goes to them, I think they have like 10 candidates. So let me just be quick about this. They did a vote yesterday for the Hall of Fame. Again, this is the Veterans Committee, okay? And you talked about it off the air a couple of times. We used to say, hey, they usually correct the mistakes. If somebody deserves to get in, they get in, right? That's kind of how they do it. Well, yesterday the committee voted to put in Harold Baines and Lee Smith.
Who?
Now, Lee Smith, for those that do not know, was the saves leader before Hoffman and Rivera both passed him. Okay? Lee Smith's not a bad player. He was the saves. I can maybe and I think Joe Torre said he voted for. I can understand maybe Lee Smith getting it, because before Rivera and before Hoffman, he was the saves leader. All right, fine. That is somewhat of an argument. I'll leave that one alone. Okay, even though I don't think he should have gotten in. He's a good player. He's not a great player. Okay, fair enough. Harold Baines. I liked Harold Baines. Okay. Again, good player, not a great player. What's the Hall of Fame supposed to be about? Bringing the best of the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
On what universe does Harold Baines get into the Hall of Fame while Don Mattingly and Keith Hernandez are still sitting there waiting for a call, while Edgar Martinez is still waiting for a call? Harold Baines. Now, somebody's going to say, well, look at his stats. Okay, let's quickly do that. I'm not going to look at. I mentioned Lee Smith. I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm not going to go crazy about Lee Smith. Okay, I'll leave that one alone. Harold Smith's career, okay, had 2,866 hits. Not bad. 289 batting average. Okay. 384 home runs. It's not bad. 1,628 RBIs. The benchmark, and even a baseball novice would know this, a benchmark for a Hall of Famer, okay, would be what? 3,000 hits, right? If we don't got that, we look at home runs. Well, we usually look around 400 or 500. So he's a little short of that, but, still. And you definitely, your batting average isn't bad, but when you don't have the home runs and you don't have the hits, why are we putting you in? I mean, I don't get it. We know what Edgar Martinez has done. We know what he's done in his career. The fact he's a designated hitter should not take away from that. We know that. I mean, Edgar Martinez is one of the best hitters we've ever had. His career numbers: 312 batting average. Great. 309, 1,260, 2,200. Okay, so you know what? Harold Baines actually has a better stack of numbers than Edgar Martinez. So it's the batting average. So, all right, fine. I can deal with that. All right. So he beats Edgar Martinez. So maybe that helps the anti-Edgar Martinez group. Right? Maybe that helps them. So I was wrong about that one. Good thing I checked numbers. But what about Don Mattingly? You put Don Mattingly in? He only has 222 home runs, 1,099 RBIs, 307. Yeah, you know what? If Harold Baines gets in, then these guys need to get in, right? So maybe my whole argument's wrong. But it still seems Like you know this. I mentioned this a million times that Don Manning was never going to get in.
Yeah.
And because I didn't think that, I think his career ended too quick. He didn't have the numbers. He didn't have the World Series ring. Even though he was a dominant hitter for how many years, not going to get in. But everybody assumed Edgar Martinez would get in, even though Harold Baines has better numbers than Edgar Martinez. So I guess the argument here is this, because everybody's going crazy about this, okay? Edgar Martinez was really the first, was kind of revolutionized the DH position. He was a dominant batter at the DH position exclusively his whole career almost. Don Mattingly was, in guys like Mattingly and Hernandez at first base made that position a power hitting position. So I guess you look at it on a case by case. And what did you do? What kind of impact did you make? Did you make a significant impact that's on a huge level? You remember Mattingly. You remember Keith Hernandez. You remember Edgar Martinez. You don't remember Harold Baines. That's not a knock. That's the truth. So I guess that's where I'm thinking of it, because you would think I'm just thinking of it that they had better numbers than, but they didn't. So I guess that would be their argument is, hey, look, Harold Baines had better numbers than these guys. We didn't put these guys in. We're putting Harold Baines because he had the better numbers. So I guess they have somewhat of an argument. Doesn't mean they should have gotten in, because some people think that they're watering down the Hall of Fame by putting these guys in. Well, you're putting the good players in, but not the great. So eventually, just going to start putting anybody that has a decent career into the Hall of Fame. I can understand that. But again, when you look at the numbers, you see that Baines might had better numbers than a lot of these guys. So does that open the door for them? Maybe it does. I don't know. It definitely makes their case for Baines look a little bit better than I thought it did. But the way everybody was reacting yesterday, and I kind of agreed with them. I'm like, well, Harold Baines. I remember Harold Baines. I didn't think he had a Hall of Fame career. But then you look at the numbers, he has a better career than half these guys did. So it's kind of weird. But again, sometimes it's just the position you're in, the teams you play for, and the impact that you have. It's not necessarily the numbers, it's the impact. Now, some guy that did have an impact, two guys that did have an impact, did not get in yesterday, Lou Piniella and George Steinbrenner. Now, we know George had, may rest in peace, had issues. He was out of baseball twice, but again, impact. He changed the way things were in baseball. He changed the way free agency was. He changed the way people built their teams. The impact that he had on the game, the revenue that he helped the game cultivate. The regional sports network was kind of his creation. And then Lou Piniella, who, forget about as a player, because he wouldn't be a Hall of Famer player, but as a manager, he was a brilliant manager. So Lou Piniella, I guess, missed by one vote. Lou Piniella should have been in. George Steinbrenner should be in. But, not to sound like a homer here, but, since it seems like anybody that has a Yankee affiliation tends to lose out on postseason awards and Hall of Fame nominations, we wonder if there is that bias there. Because it seems like, a lot of deserving people don't get in because maybe of who they play for, and it's not even just the Yankees. Sometimes you see what other teams do. So, again, we think that this group can help make right a lot of mistakes that the writers make. Well, they didn't do that yesterday, in my mind. Maybe it doesn't look as bad with guys like Baines and Smith when you look at the numbers, but with Steinbrenner and Piniella, it does look bad. And they both should have been voted in yesterday. And it's a joke that they weren't. And again, you just like that. You just, in any sport, and I feel like a lot of the other sports get it right. The NFL, I think, gets it right for the most part. NBA gets it right. Whatever. I think the other sports get it right. You never really see too many people that should be in get left out. Baseball has a problem with this. I don't know what, it's like you see people get in that maybe you shouldn't get in, and then if they get in, but then you don't see people with comparable numbers get in, and it's like, I don't understand it. And then I don't understand it. Mike, I think, understands it. I don't understand it. You just think they're all dumb. Is that what clearly you're not as passionate about this as I am?
Well, sorry. I was looking at a GIF of something that happened on the Edge and Christian show last night, and apparently there was a really funny segment with Shawn Michaels and EC3, of all people.
Oh.
And it was apparently amazing. But look, with the Hall of Fame, and look, I know the arguments. I know the arguments against, but until a guy like Mark McGuire's in the Hall of Fame, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, again,
And look, Harold Gaines or
Gaines.
sure. Until Chris Gaines is in the Hall of, that's good for him. He had a good career. I don't know why they're putting Garth Brooks in the Hall of Fame, especially his alter ego Chris Gaines, who had that one album. But hey, Garth Brooks in the Baseball Hall of Fame, sure, why not? But still, why are you putting Garth Brooks into the Baseball Hall of Fame? That was a next level. That was a next level joke. But anyways,
Let's just say that there's no hope for this Hall of Fame group to be good because
look,
now even the Veterans Committee is stinking it up.
but look, when Mariano gets in, that'll be the only thing. That'll be the last thing I will possibly give a shit about until maybe Jeter goes in or something.
Well, that'll be the next year. So
yeah. So once Mariano and Jeter and possibly Ortiz get in, sure. But after that, interest level will drop off. You need to put, and look, you need to put bigger names. You need to put big names, and yes, there's controversy, but you need a headliner for a lot of these events. Harold, don't call me Garth Brooks Gaines, or whatever his name is not going to be the big draw for the Hall of Fame.
well, I mean they'll have that happen next month because Mariano will get elected. Like this is just the veterans people that they're voting in. So,
but unfortunately, yes, okay, George Steinbrenner, you can make an argument for, you can make an argument against. Lou Piniella should have gotten in, sure, but until the Legends Committee finally nuts up and puts Mark McGuire in, I don't care. And honestly, you have to put McGuire in. McGuire, because it comes across as baseball being ungrateful to what saved their sport back when baseball was on the brink.
mm-hmm.
That's like saying when they come up, that's like saying Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby, thanks for saving hockey for being the drawback into hockey, but we're not going to put you in our Hall of Fame.
Right.
You would never do that to Ovechkin, and you never do that to Sidney Crosby. It's like saying to LeBron James, "Well, thank you for all of your years, but for being the draw that brought everybody back into the NBA after the Jordan era and Kobe Bryant having a scandal. We have you, LeBron, but you're not going to be in our Hall of Fame."
Right.
Basketball would never do that. A lot of these sports would never do. It's like the NFL saying, "Sorry, Tom. Sorry, Tom Brady. You're not going to be in our Hall of Fame because you were playing in the era where people were kneeling during the anthem. It doesn't matter if that was a legitimate reason or not. It is. But sorry, Tom. You can't get in the Hall. It's pointless." The NFL one doesn't make any sense, admittedly. I kind of realized that halfway through, but I don't care. But Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa and Ken Griffey Jr. saved baseball. They did. They absolutely did. And you can make the arguments that, oh, well, they use legal supplements. Okay, I understand. And if you never put Barry Bonds in, Okay. But Mark McGuire, at the very least, needs to go in.
Mm-hmm.
Mark McGuire, at the very least, absolutely needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
No, I agree.
Because that one season, Mark McGuire's entire run that year with the Cardinals was legendary, and it brought people back into baseball that abandoned the sport for dead after your lockout. So it was a necessary. So say what you will about it being a necessary evil or whatnot. It is what it is. You may have discovered something. You might not have discovered something. You'll never know for sure. But what is for sure is Mark McGuire and his impact on baseball and his numbers and his power numbers definitely deserve to be amongst the greatest of all time. Sorry, it's just the case.
No, I understand. So, I mean, I just felt like they had I just felt like yesterday was a bad PR day for them. And again, you know, look, in January, they're going to elect Rivera and they're going to elect somebody else that's probably going to be a good headliner for them too. And, you know, but still, there's going to be a lot of people that they've let go fall through the cracks. And that whole committee, I said this for the last decade. I felt like, oh, the Veterans Committee can correct mistakes. You know, they're there. And yesterday, I felt like they didn't. I felt like they let more people fall in between the cracks, and that's not what they're supposed to do. So that was a bad day for them yesterday. And really, these winter meetings have been bad for them too. And I said that we do this big whole segment about winter meetings. Well, there isn't much to talk about. You know, nothing's really happened. The Phillies are making moves. They signed McCutchen today, 3 years. What, $45 million, which I think is an absurd amount of money. You had Happ, looks like he's going to sign with the Phillies for 3, which probably takes them so now the Yankees probably got to get their last pitcher by trade. Really, this whole winter meetings has amounted to this: Yankees and the Mets, and whether they're going to do a trade or not, or whether they're going to trade or do something else on their own. It's been all about the New York teams trying to make deals, and everybody else is kind of standing there. Bryce Harper and Manny Machado are sitting there wondering who's going to come after us. Machado's scheduling visits. Bryce Harper has nobody going in on him now because it seems like everybody's scared off by Scott Boris's 10-year thing, contract proposal thing. So it's been a very uneventful. And here's the thing, okay? And I think that baseball has to really start to nip this in the bud because they're starting to treat this like the NFL draft a little bit. The winter meetings are ridiculously overhyped. All right, it's always a big deal, and it should be a big deal. But don't act like it's the second, like this big, like huge centerpiece of your league. It's not. If anything, the winter meetings is what kind of sparks things, and then usually the week after the winter meetings, in the last decade, is when you see a lot of movement because things start at the winter meetings. They pick up once you get out of the room. Because I think what's a bigger push for people to get things done is Christmas. Once you start getting out of the winter meetings, you realize, oh, crap, we're a week away from Christmas. And then you're about a month and a half away from pitchers and catchers reporting. People have initiative all of a sudden to start solving things. So that's the whole thing. And the thing, too, that people I think need to remember, too, is we're in a changing era in baseball. Older players are not getting big contracts. The idea of 8 to 10-year contracts is going out the window. Teams want to sign guys to 4 or 5 year deals. They want the sport's getting younger. You know, we're probably headed for another strike in baseball in 2 years because of the way things are going. You saw what happened last year with the free agents. A lot of free agents were left out in the cold. Some of them didn't sign until very late in the winter. Some of them didn't even sign until the season started. And you saw the repercussions of that last season with a lot of players being unable to get things going because they didn't have a spring training. And that's going to happen again this year. There's so many free agents, and teams are just not spending the money because they don't think they have to spend the money. They don't want to sign them to these long contracts. They're trying to set things back to before the absurd contracts happened. The union's not going to like that, and that's going to lead you to a strike. I hate to tell you, it's just going to happen because they're not talking right now about these things. They're not talking about incentives and how to work around these issues. So when they're not talking, it means it's going to take what? It's going to lead to, in 2 years, misunderstandings and a strike. So, you know, you have the McCutchen thing today. You have potentially Happ going to the Phillies. Take away the Phillies thing, not much is going on this week. Again, we heard last night about the Mets, Marlins, and Yankees all being in a 3-team deal where Noah Syndergaard would go to the Yankees, JT Realmuto would go to the Mets, and then perhaps Miguel Andujar to the Marlins. A couple other players involved there too. You have that out there. You had the Indians pitchers potentially being traded for weeks. They're not moving yet. Who knows what's going to happen? I think you're still waiting for that domino. Yes, the Yankees traded for Paxton a few weeks ago. Yes, Nathan Eovaldi got signed by the Red Sox last week. Patrick Corbin got signed by the Nationals. You've had these little pieces, but still you're waiting for the big dominoes. And the big dominoes are these pitchers that are on the trade market and Bryce Harper and Manny Machado, who both seem to be waiting to see what the other one's going to get. And there has been no movement on any of those fronts in the last 24 to 48 hours. And I don't think now things have gotten quiet, which means maybe there is going to be. I tend to think when it's quiet, unlike last night where everything was going crazy, I tend to think that means things might get done. Because I said this is usually the night where tonight into tomorrow is usually when things get done. So we'll see. So yeah, everything's out there, but there's not much going on. And that's why I kind of left this for last, because I thought maybe some things would get done. Nothing's out there yet. Everything that's out there, you probably already know about from a day ago, or from earlier today. How do I think things are going so far for these teams? I think, look, I think people like to forget the Yankees traded for James Paxton. I think they're better right now, but assuming they make some other signings, I think they'll be okay. But they still need to get another starting pitcher, and they still have to fill up the bullpen a little bit, maybe at least one guy there, and help the middle infield. Mets, they're active. Are they better? Yeah, but they have holes they have to fill. Phillies, I think, are a lot better. I think the Phillies, what they did today, I think they helped themselves. Does that take them out of the running for Harper and Machado because they spent so much money today? I don't think so, because the owner said he's going to spend stupid money. So we'll see. But I think that does suggest that they're starting to think that it's not going to be as much of a slam dunk just to throw money out there and get who they want. And that's why they went after McCutchen. That's why they went after Happ, because they were obtainable. Harper and Machado might not be. So, again, we thought we'd have a big segment here with some big things going on. We don't have that. We have rumors. We have speculation. And what little has been done is not a big enough deal in my mind to move the needle. So we'll see. Hopefully over these next 2 days, more will happen. If not, then I suspect that next week will be huge, because that's usually what happens. If you have a quiet winter meetings, you have a very active week after. If you have a busy winter meetings, then things are quiet. Over the last decade, it's been the former rather than the latter. So we'll see. Obviously, I've been posting on Twitter. If there's anything big that happens, I will. If I have a chance to comment on it, I will comment on it. We could also talk about it on Thursday, even though we have an entertainment show on Thursday. Obviously, I have some time to fill anyway. If anything big goes down, we might do like a winter meetings wrap up. We'll see, because it'll be over by then. So, I know this wasn't much, but again, there's not much going on. So why go on and on about it? Nothing's going on. So we'll leave it at that. And then if anything goes down, I'll obviously comment on Twitter about it. And then maybe we'll talk about it on Thursday. And if not, we'll talk about it next week. And we'll see if there's any big things that go down over these next 48 hours or so. So a very quiet winter meeting so far, but again, not the first time we've had that. So yeah, there you go. So that's it. Baseball, we did wrestling, we did football, we did a little bit of basketball. A lot, but we did it. I did it. So let me do my little ramble on spiel and get out of here, so we can all enjoy the rest of our night, because I know a lot of you are probably like, it's been a long day, and it has been a long day. It's been a long day for everybody. So with that being said, that is it for tonight. As always, show might be over. Doesn't mean you have to stop interacting, contributing to the show community of your voice. Heard, and it's your feedback, questions, comments, opinions about the show, about topics we discussed, anything we said. Topic ideas and breaking news items, related to sports, entertainment, wrestling you want us to cover. Any of these things you can do by email, Facebook, and Twitter. You can email us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Remember, Hashtag IT Spotlight 411 is what you want to use when tweeting regarding our show. And, of course, on Facebook, you can find us at In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook, and make sure that you like our fan page once you come across it so you can interact with us and know what's going on with the schedule of the show and all that good stuff. Again, social media, follow us on Twitter at IT Spotlight 411. Again, hashtag IT Spotlight 411 when you tweet regarding the show, and on Facebook, In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook, and make sure you like our page. Make sure you do that because that is the best way to keep up with us and interact with us and get information about the show, any announcements, any scheduling changes, any questions you want to relate to us directly before the show, or even during the show, after, whatever. You can do all that. Especially with the film awards coming and everything, you probably want to make sure you follow us on social media to get all the latest information about that and more. 2 ways to keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes. We don't have Google Plus anymore, so we won't even reference that. I should stop referencing it. It's been gone enough, long enough. So, but yeah, you can find us on YouTube. Just search for In the Spotlight 411, and then you can stream any of the episodes we ever produced for YouTube, going way back to mid-October of 2015. All those episodes are available for you to stream anytime you want. So just search for In the Spotlight 411 on YouTube, and you can stream us anytime you wish. If streaming's not your thing, maybe prefer to listen to us instead of streaming us, or listen to us on the go, or you miss an episode of the show and you want to keep up. You want to check out an older episode of the show. If any of that applies to you, check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes, search In the Spotlight 411. And when you do, you'll be taken to our show pages on both sites, where you have access to every episode we've ever produced in the 8 years we've been doing this show, going way back to October 2010. If you want our original Blog Talk Radio one from October 2010, January 2011, you can find it on Blog Talk Radio. Maybe you want our Talk Shoe run from January 2011 all the way up to mid-October 2015. You can check that out on Talk Shoe. Or if you're interested in just our most recent episodes from the last few years, everything going back to our first show on YouTube, made back in mid-October of 2015, all up to tonight's current episode. All those episodes transfer into audio format for your convenience. Every episode I've ever done is an audio format for your convenience to listen to on the go. So every episode I've ever done, in order for the most recent, that being tonight, way back to the oldest, way back in October 2010, is available to you for you to listen to anytime you want. Maybe catching up on episodes, current episodes. You want to check on an episode from a few years back for whatever reason. If any of this applies to you, you can check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes, to search In the Spotlight 411. So again, Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, your ways to keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes. Again, Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes are the ways to keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes. To search for In the Spotlight 411. Again, to search for In the Spotlight 411. Shout out to Mike over there. Thank you for joining us. I know you want to go to bed, so.
Yes, I want to go to bed. Why did I stay for all this baseball?
I have no idea.
I thought we were going to talk more wrestling. Did you know? Do you know New Japan released their Wrestle Kingdom card this week?
Tell me all about it, Meltzer.
Do you honestly want to know? It is underwhelming. Now look. I'm not going to say Dave Meltzer didn't jerk off at least 5 times over, because he certainly did. But for the average fan, it is not impressive. Not at all.
Yeah, we love Meltzer. He's entertaining.
No, that's Brian Alvarez. Brian Alvarez is the entertaining one of the two.
That's probably true, but still. He gives us something to talk about, at least.
Yes, sure. Dave Meltzer nuts every time New Japan is mentioned.
He does indeed.
It's like when every time you sneeze, an angel gets its wings or something along the lines. Every time Dave Meltzer hears about New Japan Pro Wrestling, he orgasms in his pants. Unless he's in San Diego, in which case he's jerking it on the street. Jacking it.
Well, that's a reference I haven't heard in a while.
I'm making that reference because I have family currently in San Diego right now. So,
hey,
yeah, right. So they must be jacking it in San Diego.
Oh Jesus!
But yeah, the New Japan. I mean, Kenny Omega versus Tanahashi is the main event, and Minoru Suzuki's not even on a main card. So I immediately don't care. So yeah.
I saw that Cody Rhodes passed on a WWE offer too.
Eh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what?
Yeah.
Cody's doing amazing things right now. He doesn't have to go to the WWE right now.
He will eventually.
No, eventually he'll go back, but doesn't have to go back.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I just saw that was news. So, well, anyway, that's But yeah, thank you, Mike, for being here. And I pat myself on the back for another great show, and thank all of you for your continued support and contributions. Thank you so much for listening, and to those who will be watching, listening to this later, thank you to you as well. Listening and watching, I should say, and to those that will be doing that later in archive, thank you to you as well. Again, Thursday we will have entertainment, box office beat, TV highlights, if any. We'll do again. We might do some winter meeting stuff if anything big happens. If not, we'll just probably wait till Tuesday. We'll start the film awards process on Thursday as well. Give you all the information you need to start that. We're doing that a little early this year. And maybe do a little critics' choice stuff and all that. We'll do, again, it won't be a long show. It'll be like last Thursday, maybe an hour or so. But that'll be Thursday, and then next week, 2 shows. That'll be the last 2 shows, last 2 show a week schedule for the rest of this year, because obviously Christmas and New Year's coming up. So we'll do a show on Tuesday and Thursday, and the last 2 weeks of the year. Well, the last week of 2018 and the first week of 2019, we'll have 1 show, both on Thursday. So keep that in mind. Tuesday we will do. Again, we might do a sports entertainment combo next Thursday. I don't know if we'll fit everything in on Tuesday, but we'll talk about wrestling. We'll do wrestling, Fallout from TLC, Raw and SmackDown. We'll probably do some football. If not, we'll move it to Thursday, but we'll probably do football on Tuesday. Any winter meetings, Fallout, any other sports stuff we have to cover. We'll do college basketball preview, all that on Tuesday, and then next Thursday, entertainment. If any other sports stuff we can't get to on Tuesday, we'll do it on Thursday. So that's next week. And again, the 2 weeks after that will be 1 show a week on Thursday. So keep all that in mind if we go forward here as we head into 2019. With that being said, that is it for tonight. I hope you all have a great rest of your night, a great Wednesday, and a great Thursday. We'll see you back here Thursday night at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time here on YouTube. Until then, have a good night, everybody.